The lawyer, now visibly shaking, admitted weakly that he couldn't go through with it. But Kim's stepmother turned on him sharply, her voice cutting through the room as she reminded him that he was already an accomplice. If he didn't help them finish the job, he would go down with them. It was their only chance. Slowly, they all began moving toward Kim's father, trying to corner him and grab his phone. He stepped back, measured and calm, glancing briefly at his watch before lifting his eyes back to them. He told them it was over. There was no escape now, and they should surrender while they still could. But his wife, her eyes now wild and bloodthirsty, advanced toward him. She demanded he hand over his phone if he valued his life, promising they would spare him if he gave up the recording. Refusing to yield, Kim's father stood his ground. His wife lunged forward, gripping the champagne bottle tightly, ready to strike him down herself. Just as she swung forward, the door burst open. Wubin stormed in, flanked by armed police officers whose guns were already aimed at the conspirators. The officers barked at them to surrender immediately. Defeated, Kim's stepmother's hand fell limp at her side and the bottle slipped from her grip, shattering against the floor. Realizing their plan had crumbled beyond repair, they slowly knelt as ordered, hands trembling. The lawyer, pale and desperate, pleaded frantically that he was innocent, that they had forced him to forge the will and threatened him if he refused. He begged Kim's father for mercy, sobbing that he was a single father himself and couldn't bear the thought of leaving his own daughter behind. Wubin turned a cold gaze toward him, telling him that he should have thought of his daughter long before he decided to betray the man who trusted him and indulge in criminal acts. The lead officer stepped forward, placing handcuffs on each of them as he declared they were under arrest for the murder of Kim and the attempted murder of her father. Kim's stepsister, now in tears and trembling, looked up at Kim's father and pleaded for his forgiveness. She reminded him how they had stayed by his side for years, helping him run his family business and keeping up appearances, begging him not to do this to them now. But Kim's father said nothing. He simply stood there, silent, as a wave of relief and quiet satisfaction washed over him. He was finally witnessing justice being served for the daughter they had so cruelly taken from him. As the officers dragged them away, Kim's stepmother turned back one last time, her eyes burning with venom. She hissed that her only regret was not driving a knife through his heart while he slept, sending him to hell to join his daughter. The police tightened their grip and forced her out, her threats echoing uselessly in the hallway. Left standing in the aftermath, Kim's father felt tears gather in his eyes. For the first time since his daughter's death, he felt the weight of betrayal begin to lift from his shoulders. It was as if a new dawn had broken over his life, a moment of long-overdue justice and hard-won peace. Wubin stepped closer and placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder, congratulating him for finally finding justice and reminding him that he could now bury his daughter properly and let her rest in peace. Kim's father turned to him with gratitude, thanking him sincerely for standing by him through the darkest days and promising that whatever Wubin wanted, he would give him without hesitation. Wubin met his eyes and told him that he had done it all for Kim, and that if it hadn't been for her, none of this would have mattered. He reminded Kim's father that they needed to go to the police station to give their statements and told him not to forget the phone with the recording, the final piece that had brought their lives crashing down. Together, they stepped out of the room, the heavy air finally clearing as the weight of the past slowly began to lift. Justice, long denied, had finally arrived.